Mr. Gates, welcome to CCTV News. You said you are an impatient, optimistic person when it comes to philanthropy. Explain.
Well, I see all the inequities in the world. I see the diseases that are still out there, the kids who don't get a good education. And I think, we're a very rich world. We have good tools and technology. We should be able to move faster to get rid of those inequities. And I know philanthropy is growing. It's playing a very important role here. So I'm very happy with what's getting done. I think it's a very positive direction, but every day I want it to go faster.
Your role, you said, I think at the speech, you said your role as a philanthropist is to connecting all the dots so that things can happen. Which dot, for you, so far, is the most difficult to connect?
Well, our foundation works in several different areas. Global health is our biggest area, and there we're trying to save children's lives. We help invent new vaccines, make sure those vaccines are delivered, even in the poorest locations. Sometimes we can even go so far as to eradicate a disease. So polio, which paralyzes children, we hope that in 3 years, that'll become the second disease that's completely eliminated from the face of the earth. So we really see a lot of progress there. Sometimes the science is hard. Sometimes the poor countries, it's hard to get to every child. In Pakistan and Afghanistan, we have instability. Those are the last two countries that actually have this polio disease.
What can you do about it then?
Well, there's always partnerships that allow us to get the message out. We've worked with Muslim clerics to say that vaccinating kids is a very good thing. We've had peace be declared. We've made sure we're picking vaccinators from the right villages. And so with a lot of good thinking, a lot of good planning, even a tough thing like a disease eradication can be achieved.
But on the other hand, some have wondered whether your projects have been all successful, or at least some of them have been facing quite some challenges. For example, there's some recent piece on the Washington Post suggesting some of the education evaluation projects that you have back in the United States, which you have spent tens of millions of dollars, in fact, could come to a pause because the follow-up fund for it could be too enormous to be realized.
Well, education's a critical area. The idea that every child should have great teachers, that's probably the biggest enabler of equity in any society. And so the fact that in the United States, in some of those inner cities, the teaching is not very good. There's a very high dropout rate. The subjects don't really engage the kids properly. The idea that we can help those teachers improve, that we can take the best ones and learn from them, we're strong believers in that. We've made very good progress. The places we've been have improved their graduation rates and their test capabilities far more.
But it seems that the local government wants to right now take off that specific project. What can you do about that? I mean, you've already, together with your foundation, spent tens of millions of dollars on it. Is that going to be a waste?
Well, no, many kids benefited from the work we did. But whenever you do pilot programs with government, you always have to understand, are you going to be there forever, or are you trying to convince them that there's a better way to do it? And here, we picked a 5-year period for some of these sites and said, okay, at the end of 5 years, what you see here in terms of teacher excellence and the very small cost to achieve it, you should be able to sustain that. And we actually think in all the sites we're in that there will be some sustainability. But this is the job of philanthropy. This is why it's no easier than designing software products or any other part of business. You really have to be hard-headed. Can you achieve it? Do you have the right skills, partnerships, measurements? I get to use all my talents now for trying to do the best philanthropy.
From a dedication to digital connectivity, now to a mission to solve the world's fundamental problems like hunger, health, poverty, education. Over the past 15 years, Bill Gates has learned a lot about the world and the better ways to make things happen, and that includes right here in China.
Bill Gates' charity organization has a history of doing good in China. Years ago, the Gates Foundation began supporting China's largest manufacturer of vaccines and blood products. They also put major energies into a Chinese HIV/AIDS project, a tuberculosis project, and tobacco control. Now, with the rapid development of the Chinese economy, a new rich have emerged, and they're thinking about what to do with their vast fortunes. Bill Gates has started working with the new rich of China, and this Thursday, together founded the China Global Philanthropy Institute. Many famous faces put in appearances, including both Gates himself and some of China's most prominent billionaires.
You started a project called the Giving Pledge together with Warren Buffett, and it has won a lot of applause all over the world, and a lot of your great friends have also joined in. But when it's being promoted in China, at least some time ago, some entrepreneurs here in this country have a very different understanding of what you exactly want, and they are not at the time necessarily standing with you on the same line.
Well, we never brought the Giving Pledge to China. We had a meeting about philanthropy, but in no way was it ever to promote the Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge is incredibly successful, mostly U.S., but many other countries. The billionaires have committed to give the majority of their wealth away. And it's not just that resource commitment, it's also that we meet on a regular basis and learn from each other.
Will that happen in China, you think?
Well, I'm hopeful that philanthropy in China will grow. It's different than in the United States. And it's not just the generosity we need to grow. We need to grow the recipient institutions. That's one of the big missing pieces. Even if I want to give to my university, do I know how that money will be used? If I want to give to the museum or some cultural thing or to orphans. In the US, we take for granted that because we had 100 years of this development, that the number of these organizations is gigantic, and that capacity needs to be built, and understanding how that relates to the government and how we train those people. That's one of the things this Philanthropy Institute that we kicked off today will help fill in and train a lot of those people. So 10 years from now, I have a high expectation for what the scale and quality of Chinese philanthropy will achieve.
In China, the philanthropy law is now being studied. What kind of, if not advice, suggestions or hope you have about that piece of legislation?
Well, certainly the status quo is not ideal. The challenges in how you register philanthropy, the various categories, how you do reporting against those things, the law wasn't designed to think there was going to be a huge set of philanthropic institutions. We've had a chance to talk with the Ministry of Civil Affairs, share our thoughts. We've hired consultants to write reports, think about this. So, I'm very hopeful that we'll have iterations of laws that appropriate to Chinese circumstances, where taxes are not the same in other countries, the culture's not exactly the same.
You hosted also the Chinese President, Mr. Xi Jinping, when he was visiting the United States in the state of Washington, for example. During your conversation, how sophisticated do you think it has already got in terms of your discussion about philanthropy?
Well, I've been very privileged to meet with the President many times at the Bao Forum this year, and also with his wife, Madam Peng. Both of them in Seattle. Melinda, my wife, and I got to spend time with. With Madam Peng, we went and saw some HIV research. With the President, we had a sort of two-on-two discussion. And, my enthusiasm about philanthropy and the fact that China's doing more and more there, that was one of the topics that came up. And he's always encouraged me to spend time on this. So I'll definitely drop him a note about the Philanthropy Institute. I think he would approve.
Which role do you prefer when you think about it in reflection, as a philanthropist or as an entrepreneur?
Well, for me as a young man, age 20 to even 50.
Does age make a difference?
Oh,
here?
I think so. I wanted to build software. I loved software. My life was about software. I even waited quite late to get married and have kids because I was so fanatical about software. I learned a lot during that software career. I traveled globally, and so that prepared me very well. Not only did it provide the resources, but it also provided me with a lot of experience about measurement. And now my wife Melinda is my partner in doing this philanthropic work, which is a lot of fun. So for this phase of my life, I think the philanthropy is a real fit. But I don't think as a young man it would have been the best thing. So I'm very blessed to have had two very fulfilling careers.
Final question, from that quote-unquote computer nerd to most well-known philanthropist in the world, what is the fast track?
Well, I wouldn't say I've been on a fast track. I waited until I was in my 40s to really do significant philanthropy. And I admire people like Mark Zuckerberg, who are actually starting now in their 30s, along with his wife, doing a lot of things. And so there's a new generation of tech leaders. I bet they'll see what I and others have done in philanthropy, but they'll bring their own twist to it. I know that the great entrepreneurs here in China are talking more and more about, how do they help with the environment? How do they help on social services? I think you're going to see some great things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Gates. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's my exclusive interview with Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, recently in Beijing. As was mentioned, he was in the Chinese capital to unveil a philanthropy institute in China, established with joint efforts from the Gates Foundation and other American and Chinese philanthropists. The aim is to encourage more philanthropy in the country where recent history has shown we could be doing a little better. With a global perspective and a determination to succeed, an individual can make a profound difference. Bill Gates is a case in point as he works with his foundation to change lives of the world over.